Major League Baseball has passed two significant dates of the offseason, and we're here to discuss those decisions on this episode of the Viva Albertos podcast.
Smith corks one into right, down the line. It may go. Go crazy, folks. Go crazy.
Breeze hits it in the air to center. We will see you tomorrow night.
This is the Viva Albertos podcast on SB Nation.
Welcome into another episode of the Viva Albertos podcast. As always, I am your host, Jake Wood, and I am joined by fellow writers Gabe Simons and Scott Plaza. I know we advertised an episode with Robert Murray of the Baseball Insiders, but due to some scheduling conflicts, we had to reschedule. Perhaps after a Sonny or Arenado trade, we will try to get those guys on to break it down with us. But in the meantime, we still have some pretty intelligent guys in here to kind of give you the lowdown on what happened this past week with the Cardinals. Starting on Tuesday, the Cardinals decided to add catcher Leo Bernal, outfielder Josh Baez, left-handed pitcher Bryson Mouts, and left-handed pitcher Cooper Jerpy. They also designated for assignment Jorge Alcala. Thoughts on the decision to protect the guys that they did, and was there a name perhaps you were surprised to not see protected? I'll throw that one over to Gabe to start, and then Scott, I'll have you jump in after.
Nobody who was protected is a surprise in the slightest. Maybe some people might be surprised Jerby was because he's expected to be injured for a little bit, but certainly a team would have stuck him in Rule 5 and stuck him in the bullpen as soon as he was healthy, so you had to protect him no matter what. I think some people might have been surprised by Blaze Jordan not being protected as well, but his underlying metrics in AAA were pretty poor, and it's really hard to hide a guy who's expected to only be able to play first base, maybe fake it at third base. Hard to hide the guy in the major leagues for a full year before he's officially ready, and he doesn't really seem MLB ready, at least half a season, I would guess. I think I'm a little surprised, I guess, that Kaepernick's still on the 40-man. I've been expecting him to be DFA'd for like 3 months now, and he's held in strong. So I think he's still eligible to stay in the organization as soon as he is DFA'd. So maybe they're waiting as long as possible for that reason.
I wonder if they're like considering Kaepernick to be like depth or like insurance in case like a Newt bar isn't ready for opening day. I kind of wonder if that's kind of how they're playing it. But I also kind of agree with you that I'm a little bit surprised that Kaepernick stayed, but also like if they wanted to give him another chance to kind of, rectify his season from a year ago, and he did show a little bit better at the end of last season, I can kind of understand it.
Maybe there's something like where they see he played hurt or something in the first half and he wasn't hurt in this. Maybe there's like something there. I still think you could get away with DFAing him. And like I said, I think he isn't eligible for minor league free agency because he hasn't been DFA'd yet. And I think once you get twice, you automatically are a free agent. So I think he would just stay in the organization next year because I don't think he's played 7 years in the minor leagues, which you need to be a free agent. So that's my main confusion is I just feel like he could stay in the organization like Zach Thompson is. If he was DFA'd. So that's where I'm confused because I feel like you could get away with just, DFAing him. But they don't need the spot yet, so maybe they're just waiting to need the spot.
For sure.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is that they don't really have to be in a rush to get rid of Kaepernick and the DFA because I think they're at what, 37?
37, correct. Yeah, after the tender deadline.
And I think Torres is going to be a fun one. I think he might be that insurance policy, Jake, that you were kind of talking about. That I projected him to kind of have that Jose Fermin like type of like how much he's going to play, where you want to see a little bit more, but there's no really option for him to do that right now. And the main reason that I would be one of those surprised about Blaze Jordan, I'm not like upset about it. I'm surprised about it because I was just looking at who they have in the minor leagues to play first base, and it's really nothing exciting. And I know everyone's always talking about like, just turn so-and-so into a first baseman. And I'd like some, natural first baseman to be that. And it looks like that Jack Gurevich is going to be there. But just the lack of somebody at AAA ready to play first base. And I guess it's kind of that Burleson Contreras deal at the major league level. But I'd like to see somebody else at that upper level, the minors as well.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll be selected in the Rule 5 for what it's worth.
Okay.
So I think they're making a calculated gamble that he will not be selected, and I think they're correct to make that gamble.
Yeah, I feel like hitters are are less likely to be selected in the rule fed anyway.
I agree with the premise that I don't think that Blaze Jordan will be selected purely out of positional inversatility. Is that a word? Can I make that a word? Inversatility. So like he's first base DH type hitter. Like Gabe said, he really didn't. His underlyings didn't really show a whole lot at the AAA level last season. Like he did some things well, but clearly he needs to take his game. Like his game needs to take another step forward before he's really major league viable. To your point, Scott, about there being nothing in the way of first base in the minor league system. Like you mentioned, Jack Gurevich. I'm a fan of Josh Cross. I think that he has a future, but he's still a couple of years away. I think your point was about the upper minor league level, so it's still valid. Yeah. But I think there are a couple names that are at the high A level that are at least interesting, that provide some power potential and could do some things as they ascend. But it's still to be seen in that juncture, I guess would be the right word to put it.
And I must point out that Alec Burleson is the backup first baseman, and that's where we would prefer him to play. Mm-hmm. So unless they're trading Burleson or Contreras. And also, Gorman ended up playing 7 games at first, so I wonder if they're going to get him some reps at first base too as depth.
Mm-hmm. Who was it? I think it was Jeff Passan who had an updated, like, not necessarily notes column, but he had like a state of the offseason kind of thing. And he mentioned Cardinals trade targets, like names that he's hearing the most frequently. And it was obviously like Brendan Donovan, Nolan Arenado, Sonny Gray, Wilson Contreras, Nolan Gorman. I believe Lars Nootbaar was also mentioned in that. But one of the names that was like, people that he was surprised to not see being floated out there was an Alec Burleson. And it sounds like Burleson and Ivan Herrera are 2 names that they're not really interested in talking about this offseason with other teams. They view them as pieces for the next contending team. So I think that it's pretty safe to put Burleson in, the 2026 opening day lineup, unless another team comes along and is willing to really overpay for an Alec Burleson. I suppose that's always like in the realm of possibility, but I don't know why a team would do that. With like a Nathaniel Lowe who is just non-tendered, not that they're on the same spectrum or level of caliber of player, but if you're looking for a left-handed hitting first baseman, one just became available on the market for just cash. You wouldn't have to trade any of your young assets for it. So I don't know why a team would overextend itself for an Alec Burleson. If the Cardinals really want to keep him, then that's perfectly fine. He won a Silver Slugger. He is a silver biscuit, if you will. Friday, the non-tender deadline passed, and there were a few notable names to come onto the market, like the aforementioned Nathaniel Lowe, also like Jonah Heim, former Cardinal Adolis Garcia, and we can kind of talk or rehash that if you guys want to. I particularly don't want to, but if you guys want to talk about it, we can. Keeping it specific to the Cardinals, relief pitcher John King, relief pitcher Jorge Alcala, who was DFA'd 3 days prior, catcher Joel Pozo, and right-handed pitcher Sem Roberse were all non-tendered contracts and became free agents. Were there any surprises for you guys as to who survived the tender deadline? This time I'm going to start with Scott, and then I'll let Gabe follow up.
Yeah, I'll be pretty quick. I'm really not surprised by much. I guess there was the Ryan Fernandez, Chris Rycroft potential. I don't know if they had that deadline as well, but yeah, I didn't think anything was too surprising with the current state of the organization. And again, with having the 37 spots currently and those 3 spots open, I don't think there's any need to be in a rush to do anything else.
I guess I was kind of surprised Roberson was non-tendered. Like I would have thought they would have exposed him to waivers and just saw if they could get him to, but maybe I'm hoping to get stay in the organization because I have like an unfounded faith in him, but that's about it. I'm not surprised by Pozo at all, or King, or obviously Alcala was already preordained beforehand, but yeah, I kind of hoped Roberson could stay in the organization, quite honestly, and maybe he still can. Maybe they could agree to a deal with him, and that's what, at least I think Jeff Jones is suggesting with Pozo. at least as a minor league deal with an invite to spring training. So we'll see, I guess, if any of those guys end up coming back with a smaller deal, I guess.
Yeah, I'm glad that you referenced that deal that Jeff Jones has talked about. That's been something that's kind of been like a wink, wink, nudge, nudge kind of thing for Pozo is like, hey, go out there and see if you can find another job, on a major league roster. And if there's not one out there, come back to us. And, we're more than happy to have you as like AAA depth going into next season. And that's all Pozo was really supposed to be this season, and obviously the injuries to Ivan Herrera kind of forced him up to the major league level, and the Cardinals really seem to enjoy having him in the organization. So if it works out for Pozo and he finds a major league job, great. If he doesn't, it sounds like there's a job waiting for him at AAA to kind of be Bernal's backup. He can also play some first base and DH, so he kind of helps provide some extra thump for that AAA Memphis lineup that I think that Memphis group is going to be a pretty good team going into next year, because a lot of the AA Springfield, the championship team, is ascending up to AAA next year, and then there's also some holdovers there, plus adding in like a Joel Pozo, who's kind of a 4A player, but he's pretty decent. So I think Memphis is going to be pretty solid next year, and it'll be fairly exciting to watch if the Cardinals don't wind up being so. Moving on, rumors continue to swirl around Brendan Donovan, and teams like the Dodgers, Yankees, Astros, Guardians, Royals, and so many others are said to be interested. It seems as though Donovan is as good as gone, and Donnie will be the first trade domino to fall this winter for the Cardinals. This is pure reckless speculation on our part, but do you guys think Donovan is traded at or by the conclusion of the winter meetings in 2 weeks?
I mean, personally, I have no idea. When are players like Donovan usually traded? Because I don't even know. Because we don't trade players like Donovan, so I don't feel like I have a frame of reference for when a player like Donovan is traded.
Because Donovan is such a highly sought after commodity, they are typically right around the winter meetings, if not a little bit after. So like, not that Donovan and Garrett Crochet are nearly on the same level, but obviously Crochet was traded the last day of the winter meetings last year, and his name was talked about a lot leading up to those winter meetings, and so perhaps it's within the realm of possibility within the next couple of weeks. I don't know. I also kind of hope that the Cardinals, set a really like high firm price tag on Donovan and don't move off of it, given the amount of teams that are interested in Donovan, and because of like his ability to just fit anywhere on any roster for any team across the league. Really, I don't think the Cardinals should have to move off of that ask.
So I just looked at a comparable player the Cardinals have traded for, which is Ozuna. They're not comparable players, but Ozuna had 2 years until he was free agent, and they traded for Ozuna on December 14th.
Yeah, that was the final day of the winter meetings as well, I believe.
So that's probably what we're looking at with Donovan, I would guess. That's my best guess. That's all I got, because
I wonder if Donovan is like at the top of because he's so cheap and he's got multiple years of control coming along with him. I wonder if, not necessarily that he's holding up any of the markets, but I wonder if how many teams are looking at him as their solution at second or third or left field or, what have you. And, those markets may start to develop a little bit further once a Donovan trade is executed. I wonder if, a few teams are kind of just waiting to see where that goes before exploring alternative options. Obviously we're still fairly early on in the offseason, but it's never too early to recklessly speculate in our line of work. And so just having some fun. Scott, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think he's going to be gone in the next couple weeks. I don't think the price is going to be fluctuating that much. I don't think there's those other names on the free agent market that will force teams to adjust their price. I think the Cardinals have their asking price, and I think with the amount of teams, we're hearing 15 or more being interested, I think that price is going to be pretty well set. And I don't know how much people are going to outbid each other for a player like Donovan, even though he is super popular, can fill everywhere in the lineup, and everywhere in the field. I think he's going to be popular, but I think he's going to just have that kind of price that everyone's going to be like, okay, if we don't get him here, then we'll adjust to somebody else. So I think he's gone in the next couple weeks.
Former Cardinals reliever, 2025 trade deadline victim Phil Maton signed with the Chicago Cubs this week for I believe it was 2 years with a mutual option. Was Phil Maton a guy you guys were kind of hoping the Cardinals might look into exploring a reunion with this offseason?
I go back and forth with what I'm asking for free agent relievers. Bullpen always being so hit or miss and guys like that. I thought Maton is a projectable guy that you know what you're going to get. So I wouldn't have been against it, but maybe a 2-year deal, I think, for relievers in general, especially their later end of their career, I think is pushing it. So I'm okay with him finding a change of place this year.
I wish they would release the details of how much money so I could find out if I want one of the Cardinals to make that deal, because it's been a couple of days and they still have no idea what the money is, which is crazy to me.
Well, they know what the money is, but it's not public information yet.
It's not public, I should say. Aside from that, in theory, a 2-year deal doesn't necessarily make sense where the Cardinals are right now. You want to get the next Phil Maton, not the current Phil Maton, as far as who the Cardinals should look for the bullpen. Try to find a hidden gem instead of paying a premium for a guy who might have had a career year. I'm okay with letting him go. I do wish I knew how much the Cubs paid for him, though. Because I want to know how good or bad of a deal. Because, I mean, the year before, he was just kind of a ho-hum reliever. And, relievers will randomly have great years all the time. So I don't know if you want to pay for a random great year with 2 years and a club option.
It really... Go ahead.
I was going to say for a 33-year-old, no less.
For sure. But I think that one aspect that is interesting about Phil Maton is the fact that he does not rely on having to throw hard to get batters out. And so I wonder if that, that skill set ages a little bit better than, some of the high octane arms in their early 20s type guys, once they like looking at like a Walker Buehler, for example, the guy who threw mid to high 90s. I get that it's starter to reliever, apples to oranges a little bit, but it follow me on this a little bit. I wonder if there's a little, like Scott, you called him projectable, and like you kind of have a good idea of what he's going to be going forward. And because he doesn't throw, 95 plus, he's just kind of, he's 90 to 91 and he spins an awesome curveball. And, you just kind of set it and forget it essentially in that setup role. And he's really solid for you in that aspect. I'm really frustrated that, like, of all teams, the Cubs went out and got him. But, to the other extent, it's like, I wonder if it was a smart decision, going and getting a really just solid, dependable guy, because I think that's like after Imanaga accepted the $22 million qualifying offer, I don't really know where there is a hole in their rotation to really upgrade. And so it looks like they're going to kind of work on building the bullpen, and that's kind of be their offseason. Because it doesn't sound like they're bringing Kyle Tucker back either. And I don't know. I understand what you're saying when it comes to not giving multi-year deals to relievers, but this one feels like a really solid floor play for a Phil Maton.
It has more to do with his history than his stuff for me, because the last year he struck out 22% of batters. This year he struck out 32%. I would expect that to go down quite a bit next year. He has struck out 27%, 26% the years before. I mean, I just don't think he's going to be as good as he was in 2025 because he doesn't have he doesn't have the history of doing that. And normally, not even just relievers, just most players who you see that kind of jump, they'll go in between what they used to be and what they were this past year. It'll probably still look good on paper, I'm sure. It's just I'd be a little hesitant to pay for what looks like a career year to me. But hopefully, honestly, hopefully I'm right and the Cubs suffer for this decision.
Well, we don't want Phil Maton to suffer, but yes, we want the Cubs to suffer as a whole. So we want to make that clear. But
he got paid. He's going to do fine. He just needs to be okay. He doesn't need to suck, but if he's at a 4 ERA for them, I'd be happy with that.
do okay, but don't do bad.
I'm rooting for him to do bad. Sorry, Phil. You understand if you grew up a Cardinals fan.
I do remember reading or hearing somewhere recently that one of the reasons why he felt like he took a big step forward this season was because of PitchCom, and he was because he got into St. Louis so late that his familiarity with the catchers and them not knowing him led to him calling his own game, and that was the first time he had done that in his career. And so there was like that dynamic that he felt like explained why he took a step forward in terms of production this year. Whether or not you buy into that or believe it or not, I mean, that's you're up to you to believe in. But to that, I don't know. I feel like a guy. Scott, you can attest to this. I feel like a pitcher knows what he's got on any given day the best, better than any catcher that he's coming into the game to. And so maybe it is an advantage for the reliever to call his own game because he kind of knows what he has and what he likes and what counts.
Yeah, it was by the end of the day, it was always pitch to your strengths. Don't always pitch to the batter's weakness, because then if it gets to something that you're uncomfortable with, then you're throwing something that you don't have confidence, and then you end up not throwing to your strength either. So you're getting beat with not even your best stuff. So I think especially in Maton's spot, he knows what he's got. Like you said, every day you know what your best pitch is. So if you're going to get beat, you want to get beat with your best stuff. You don't want to get beat with trying to work around to this guy's kind of cold zone. You want to get beat with your best.
Well, guys, I want to thank you for joining us for this episode. I know it was short and sweet, but maybe you'll enjoy that. Maybe you like a little bit shorter version. Next week we will talk to you all as we do our reader mailbag episode, as we are all digesting our turkey, and obviously we want to thank everybody in this week of giving thanks. We want to thank everybody, all of our new subscribers who've come in and are listening to the show, everyone who is on Viva Alberto's, our base, people who visit us on a daily basis. We want to thank you. We're very thankful for you. And once again, we will be doing our reader mailbag, so look out for that this upcoming week as we delve further into the off season.
All right, before we jump off, I want to take the moment to do a quick shout out to Kelsey Whitmore. She was my former teammate with the Sonoma Stompers in California. She just got drafted the first overall selection in the inaugural Women's Professional Baseball League draft, the WPBL. And if you've been following Kelsey's story, or if you haven't, I recommend looking into her. She's doing huge things, making sure that baseball is being reachable for all, especially from the female side. She's an awesome role model. And she had that well-deserved honor. So I just wanted to take a moment to do congratulations to Kelsey, and keep doing your big things.
Absolutely. Congratulations to Kelsey and all of those who were selected to the inaugural WPPL in the draft. Once again, for writers Gabe Simons and Scott Plaza, I am your host, Jake Wood. Have a great night. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of the Viva Alberto's podcast. Please leave a rate and review on your favorite platform and turn on those bell notifications so you can be notified the moment our newest episode is released. As always, make sure to give us a follow on X, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Facebook. Just type in Viva Alberto's on any platform to find us. Have a great day, and thanks for listening.